What's up? Welcome to my channel. My name is Bridger Frederick, and this is a YouTube channel that is all about living with a spinal cord injury. I have a T10 injury. I'm a paraplegic, and it's a complete injury. It was about as serious as a spinal cord injury could get, and this is my channel where I attempt to heal it. I fully expect to be able to walk, run, jump, swim, bike, play with my kids, and I can't even wiggle a little toe after 2.5 years. This is just my opinion and my journey, but yeah. So the main reason for making this video is something that I've actually fleshed out a little bit before, but because it's really been solidified in my head lately, and because it's starting to pay dividends in my life, I wanted to touch base on it again, and then I want to just give a little general update. So if you've watched any of my previous videos, I have talked about that I struggle with serious gastrointestinal issues. I believe I have not been diagnosed yet. I just saw a gastroenterologist today, but I believe that I have like ulcerative colitis or something like that, caused by taking massive doses of antibiotics, and also probably contributing factor opiates. But I took a ton of opiates and a ton of antibiotics for the first 9 months that I was injured, and basically I quit the antibiotics about 2-3 weeks before I stopped using the opiates cold turkey, and quit the antibiotics because I got surgery to remove the hardware, which was which had the infection, I guess, in my spine while I was on the antibiotics in the first place, and quit the opiates because I quickly realized that I was going to die or have a disgusting quality of life if I continued down that path. But the bottom line is about I quit both those at the same time, and slowly over the course of the last year and a half or whatever it is since that time, which was September 2020, and now it's July 2022. So yeah, nearly 2 full years. Since then, I have had increasingly worsening gastrointestinal problems, and I mean, it was just a full gamut of symptoms. Diarrhea, constipation, just everything. If you can think of a horrible symptom that you can have going on with your lower abdominal portion of your body, it has been a regular occurrence until I started eating nothing but meat. And I did that in like March or so, ate mostly meat, started to incorporate blueberries and cucumbers in, and homemade kefir, and then went on vacation to Vegas and went to Electric Daisy Carnival, and went back home to Idaho and drove back and forth across the country from Florida to Idaho, Idaho to Florida, flew to Vegas, luckily in between, and just totally out the window. I mean, I was eating not whatever I wanted, like I was trying to be a bit responsible, like minimizing gluten stuff, but it wasn't, and dairy, like other than fermented dairy, but it wasn't successful is the bottom line. I ate a ton of junk, drank a bunch of alcohol, and I got back to Florida. My symptoms were as horrific as ever, and started eating mostly meat again with cucumbers and blueberries and some other fruits, and kefir, and had some mild success, but I would keep getting flare-ups. And so the bottom line is I'm transitioning back to eating only meat again, and it seems to be helping immensely. Also eating only meat, and I did do a 5-day fast, which completely alleviated the symptoms, really helped me out, and now I've been building back into eating, and that seems to be a solid move on my part, minus losing a little bit of muscle mass, which is disappointing, but I'm kind of in a cut phase right now. I want to just shed all my excess body fat, get my metabolism pumping at the same time. So, you know, there's a fine window between turning the calorie intake down so much that the uh, my basal metabolic rate lowers. So I'm having plenty of refeed time, and we'll see how it goes. It's definitely going to be a cut because I'm going to be in such deep keto from the all meat diet, and it's just hard for me to consume the calories I need to be gaining muscle while eating only meat. So I'm hoping to cut down, get real lean, and then by that time have healed my insides enough that I can start incorporating some different complex carbohydrate sources, and also like simple carbs, like honey and sweet potato, blueberries. Not saying that these are simple or complex, just saying the things that I'm going to start incorporating first. But gonna probably do a while with all meat and kefir. I am going to keep doing that and see how it goes, see how it affects me when it's a more isolated scenario. But yeah, so that's the update portion of this little video, or the new information if you're new and hadn't heard any of that before. If you do have any questions about my experience with ulcerative colitis, I'm not an expert at all, but it's been far more frustrating for me to deal with gut problems than it has been to be paralyzed. Like, it is more of a hindrance. It's so hard. It affects your mood, your energy level. It gives you anxiety. It just really messes with your brain chemicals in your head and your well-being, and the pain and discomfort is just awful. So yeah, if you have any questions, this is just my personal experience. I'm not an expert in any way, shape, or form, but I'd love to hear your own experiences, or hear if you have any suggestions. That would be fantastic. And there'll be further updates on what I find out is most effective as I work side by side with my gastroenterologist, get a definite diagnosis, and do some other testing, some blood and stool testing, to see if there's any other factors that could be playing a role in there. Going to probably get an endoscopy, and whatever it is, a colonoscopy, when they go put a camera up your butt. But yeah, probably going to get those and just figure exactly, rule out celiacs, rule out SIBO, Candida, H. pylori, all that stuff. So that's coming up, and I know there's tons of people out there suffering with gut issues, so just wanted to be as transparent as possible and add to the dialogue in any way, because random videos, random articles that I've found on the internet have been super helpful for me in figuring it out. So I just want to make my little contribution. So the main reason I wanted to make another video today has to do with something I spoke about previously. You don't need to go back and watch it. I'm going to go over it again here, and that's this huge change in philosophy I've had from having these big productive bouts and spurts of energy and then be unproductive for a period of times, to just becoming really incrementally consistent. And that's with everything, whether it be exercise, diet, healing, doing my bike, the bike that shocks your legs and pedals so that you can maintain muscle mass. Mine's a myocycle. I know there's a restorative therapies one. FES bike, that's what it is, functional electrical stimulation bike. Just being really consistent of when I wake up, of when I go to bed, having a routine, because I haven't had a routine for most of my entire life. Not since I was probably 13 years old. I would, I wouldn't even stay in the same house. I would go stay at friends' houses 3 or 4 days a week, sometimes more. I'd never sleep in the same place, never have the same plans, would never show up to school at the same time, would never leave school at the same time, because I kind of just did whatever the heck I wanted. And then that, I dropped out of high school when I was 16, and I think I went to Hawaii for a little while and backpacked around for 45 days or so. Came back, worked for the summer, went to university at Boise State University for a bit, then dropped out of that and started doing EMT school, and then went back to university the next semester after that, and then was like, heck with this, and went and started a business, moved to Washington, California, started making good money, and it was like a 1099 construction situation, but started making good money, had big plans, was all about it, and then just had this epiphany and realized that I was going to have to take on a lot of debt and responsibility if I wanted to, really build this business up to where I wanted to. I wanted to build like multifamily housing, and build and buy and purchase multifamily housing and rent it out. And I just realized it was going to be a lot of debt, a lot of responsibility, and that I needed to live my youth so that I didn't end up a morose, angry old person, because I would have for sure. I had a lot of adventure in me, and so I moved to Australia, and me and a good buddy of mine backpacked up and down the east coast of Australia, and then he left, and I ended up going with another buddy to Indonesia, where we were kind of homeless for a couple months, then to Australia, where I hitchhiked like 5,000 miles down the west coast to a place called Margaret River. That's my favorite place like on earth, is that western Australian coast all the way up and down the west coast of Australia. It's so rugged, so beautiful, just foreboding and gnarly, and it just by the nature of its gnarliness, kind of secluded and able to be protected from the masses. So I love it over there. And yeah, I just was a surf bum, and I worked on like a miniature horse ranch for a little bit, which was a very interesting experience in and of itself, for reasons that shall not be named right now. And yeah, so then, I went to Sydney from there, and then flew from there to, and this is all over the course of about 18 months at this point, since I left the States. Went down to New Zealand, lived there for a year in a beautiful part of the Southern Alps down there. Snowboarding, hiking, climbing, just the full outdoorsy lifestyle that is New Zealand, with just so many beautiful people and just such good vibes down there. Did a lot of running, ran my first marathon, and then from there that's when I got heavy into meditation, ice bath, practicing regular ice bath, got super into getting cold. Had already been into it for a long time, but that's where I like fell in love with getting really, really cold. From there, flew over to Africa, and I just like basically rode my bike around Africa for a few months, just camping, bumming around there. And yeah, then my girlfriend at the time joined me and traveled through a few countries with me at the tail end of that trip, which was awesome. We went to England. I lived in Europe for a little while. Then we migrated over to America, and that's and then I lived in multiple different places. I was a framer. I was helping some really good friends of mine redo their house right when I got home. I was a snowplow person, like just plowing snow up in the mountains in a little ski town. I worked grooming runs at a mountain, like at a ski resort, like driving the big snow cats, grooming a mountain and up there making snow and stuff like that. So it's just been, and then I guess I should, at this point, I'm like 24, 25, might as well bring it all the way up to 29. I end up from there taking a job with my really good friend, who had been originally the kid that traveled with me to Australia, who owns a cattle brokerage. His name's Andrew Van Lith, and I started working for him and was fully intending on learning everything I could about the cattle industry so that I could eventually graduate into owning a huge piece of property, because I thought the only way that I could pay the taxes on such a huge piece of property as big as I wanted to own would be to run cattle on it. And I thought that would be a pathway to the financials and lifestyle necessary to attain my ultimate dream of purchasing a huge tract of wilderness and just building a amazing community up there of some sort of mostly, when I say community, I just wanted to kind of subdivide a little section of it and to basically sell it off to friends and family and people that I love, so we could hunt, fish, hike, fly, do whatever we wanted up in the mountains. So that was the idea, and then huge wrench was thrown into that whole plan when I flipped a truck through a telephone pole, became paralyzed, and I had worked at the cattle company in Idaho, went and kind of managed part of the cattle company in Washington, and then me and one of the owners were down in Colorado trying to start a new division or branch of the company, and that's when I got injured. That's when I crashed my truck, got paralyzed, moved from rural Colorado into Denver, got out of the hospital, COVID hit. I guess that was the whole point of this is I've never had a routine. And I guess that was like the most routine my life ever was during COVID lockdown, where I would basically wake up at 2, 3 in the afternoon, hang out, get ready, eat something, and then I would take my dogs out to the dog park, because there was like a dog park in between like all these apartment buildings, and it was like an unspoken agreement that all of us with dogs who lived in those apartment buildings would take our dogs out at the same time throughout like all of COVID, like the whole, or at least the core like 2 months it was shut down. We met there every day so we could socialize, have a beer, do whatever, and get some like normal human interaction rather than just sit in an apartment all day. So did that every day for a couple months, and that was like my most consistent thing. I'd get home, I would cook dinner for my girlfriend, and then we would watch some shows until she would fall asleep around 11 or so, and then I would write. I wrote a book at that time, a fiction book, and I wrote it from like 11 to midnight until about 5 or 6 in the morning, pass out 2 or 3 o'clock the next day. That was the most routine my life's ever been, and that's not like quite the healthy routine that I'm going for now. So I did that, and then ended up doing that through COVID, got a surgery at the end of COVID to remove my hardware, bought a house in Idaho, moved back to Idaho, and did whatever I do there, tried to get in a routine, tried to be consistent, but was just kind of being a POS for some reason. I don't really know why, but just was letting depression and mental attitude and all sorts of just bullshit, just pussy, pathetic bullshit get in the way of really getting my mind back in gear and focused and being the me who I expect myself to be. And so, I when I got down to Florida in January 2022, or maybe it was like February 1st, 2022, end of January, I was like, the only way this is ever going to work is if I find some consistency. And I finally realized for the first time in my life, because my whole life had been a series of hardcore sprints and then getting burnout and abandoning whatever the hell I was working on at the time. I would just do too much. I would honestly, like if I was exercising, I would wake up, ride my bike 12 miles to work, do 9 hours of super hard manual labor where I wasn't like just manual laboring. I was like animalistically like throwing bricks and rocks into buckets and running as fast as I could, ride my bike 12 miles home, go on like a 6-mile run, go do hot yoga, like do push-ups until I was like physically exhausted and just way too extreme. Like, and I ended up, that culminated in like that wasn't really the end of the extreme workout period, but that behavior, Cleo, that period of intensity did culminate into me waking up one day and not being able to sit up because my back was in so much pain I literally couldn't get out of bed. And I'm going to a chiropractor, and the guy worked some magic out, and I could like get out of bed like a couple days later. But it was brutal. And so that's how I lived my whole life. Periods of work and then periods of vacation. Work really hard for 6 to 12 months, not do anything productive travel and see beautiful stuff and have fun and meet beautiful people, but not do anything, even like just abandon all the other goals and have new goals completely related to travel, and then get bored of that and go back to, well, working. Like, it was just this chaotic back and forth, like, and I realized that to get where I want to go is, it's got to be a mixture of the rabbit and the hare. The rabbit's got to figure out the rabbit and the hare and the tortoise. But the hare has to figure out how to, enact the tortoise in them, or they need to team up and work together or something. Because I need like consistent, incremental gains towards my primary goals, which my primary goal is to own an enormous piece of wilderness with all sorts of cool stuff on it and make a healing, awesome sanctuary where people I love, and whoever can enjoy healing, peace, and the wilderness. And I would love a mountainous version of that and a beach version of that. The mountainous version is my first priority, but like, that's my ultimate goal. And I realized, like, if that's my ultimate goal, there's no way to attain that without at least always having it a smooth line to get there. I can mix, all the little offshoots and stuff can happen, but there has to be consistent, building to that. And I don't know what that was, but it's building to something. Anyways, and so I took that principle and idea and I applied it to healing my spinal cord. And I realized I was doing the same thing. I would have bouts of having really perfect diet, really perfect exercise regimen, stretching regimen, and everything. And then I'd have droughts where I was partying and working and focusing on other things. And I realized, like, I just have to be consistent all the time with that one forever. It has to be a lifetime habit. And the only way I'm going to do that is if I change my lifetime habits. Like, I am now consistently forever trying to go to bed like before 10 p.m. Obviously, there'll be exceptions to that for fun things, but fewer and farther between. I want to go to bed at 10 p.m., wake up between 4:30 and 6 a.m., and get that first morning sunrise light. If I watch the sunrise, like literally come over the horizon, if I watch that happen, my day is infinitely better, more productive, happier, more exciting. There's something magical about, like, not just being up when the sun's rising, like being outside, watching it happen. Like, it's a magical ingredient. I don't know what it is. I have always felt that way because I've worked a lot of jobs where I was up before sunrise working, and was just like, I just got confirmation about how I felt about it from Andrew Huberman, who I mentioned, I think, on the last one of the recent episodes that I made, or shows, or whatever the heck this is. And it's true. It once you do it consistently for like a couple weeks, like, the idea of waking up after sunrise and missing out on that is like no bueno. It's addicting, and in the best way ever. It really does make a huge difference. And so little things like that, like little hacks like that, are everything. And not going off track because I miss a day. So that's what I also did before, is I would do something like that, implement it, and then I would mess up and I would like blame myself, and then I wouldn't just wake up, just do it the next day. Like, if something threw me off, or I went out and partied or whatever, I would just let little micro events affect the macro picture. And that can't happen. Not if you want to do something as complex as heal your spinal cord, or buy, an enormous piece of wilderness property and be able to protect it and pay taxes on it and enjoy it and build everything I want and have saunas and hot springs and all of the latest neuro gear there and exercise equipment and whatever else, motorcycles, planes. I want a playground, like a real badass playground. And I just won't settle for less. Like, I only get one life. I get to live one single time. And that's what I want to have in it. Whether or not I attain that is largely irrelevant, but having that to attain is the most relevant part, and the journey is everything. Enjoying, I'm not, like, that's not where I don't need that to be happy. I need to have that so that while I'm laying on my deathbed at 85, I know I accomplished what I set out to do, but only laying on my deathbed at 85 will I have to suffer through whether or not that worked. Like, I'm going to try to get it until I kick the can. And, the only time I'm really going to have to face that is those, that, however, I don't know how long I'm going to be terminal for, but even if I have a long diagnosis of terminal brain cancer or something, the worst I have to do is face it for like a couple years at the end of my life. If I don't accomplish it, or if I don't try to accomplish that, I got to face that every single damn day that I exist on this earth, because I know what I want in my heart. And if I don't try to get it every day, it's a deficit. If you're not really trying to attain whatever it is you want, and that's what I want. Everyone else needs to find it personally. I want those two things. I want to heal my spinal cord. I want to have that stuff. I want to share that with as many people as I can. I want to give the gift of learning how to walk or be happy not walking, whatever it is. Like, I want everything I learn in that sphere in neurological healing, I want to share that with as many people who are in the position that I'm in right now. And then I want to attain and build something great with badass people that I love. And then I want to share that with, people I love and people who will derive great value and benefit, and, be able to, I want a healing space. And, trying to get it is the journey. It's the path is like the, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like the journey, it's cliche, but like the journey, the path to get to the top of the mountain is the fun part. Like, being at the top of the mountain is super transient and, largely sucks because you're so tired and worn out when you get there. Like, it's not that I've been to the top of a lot of mountains. It's pretty cool. Trust me, I love being at the top of the mountain, but the journey up is definitely, the part that I enjoy the most. I like the suffering. Anyone who's climbed a mountain with me can attest that this is not an exaggeration. I like the climb more than any other part. So, what's my final point? You tell me. You are here. You're smart. You're listening. You tell me. And by you tell me, I mean you tell yourself. You take whatever value you can. You spent 27 minutes so far of your beautiful, valuable time on earth listening to me. And for that, I commend you and I thank you so much. I'm so grateful that you would value what I'm saying enough to spend your time doing it. And I just hope that I repaid you in value and you're able to take any little tidbit of what I've said and turn it into an actionable event, to something you can actually go do to make your life measurably better today, because there is something. And I guarantee you that if you can't think of something that can make it do something today that can make it measurably better tomorrow, then your answer is in making a habit. Choose a habit, choose something. For me, time to wake up and the first hour and a half. So this is what helped me a lot. I wake up immediately and I chug 750 mils of water. I go cath and use the bathroom. I have a water next to my bed. So I literally, my alarm goes off. I roll over, I grab, it's like whatever, like a Yeti type thing with a spout on it so I can drink it laying in bed. I drink 750 mils of water. I get up. I go into this little bedroom over by me. Well, right now it's actually in my living room, my myocycle right there, because my girlfriend's friend is staying with us. But no, Cleo. I hop on my myocycle and I either listen to music, just badass music of any sort, like something to get me pumped up and hyped, or dang it, sorry, I wasn't looking at the camera, I was looking at myself. I'm not a professional YouTuber, guys, forgive me. So I either listen to music and just get hyped and think really hard, or I'll just watch YouTube videos. I'll watch people that I love on YouTube, and I do not watch any bullshit. Like, I watch bullshit on YouTube, don't get me wrong, but in the morning I watch inspirational people. All sorts. I watched Ed Milet this morning. He's fantastic. Love Tony Robbins, Tom Bilyeu, Brian Tracy. There's so many. There's a great YouTube channel called Motivational Stories, and it's like just all the self-help stories and great speeches and university, whatever it is, like not dissertations, but like graduation speeches. That's what it is, that they get, awesome people to give, and it's fantastic. I do, like lately I've been doing sales, so I'll listen to sales videos, something like that inspires me. I don't get sucked into anything crappy, and that takes a lot of willpower and dedication. And if YouTube's too it's hard. Like, it's, I would pick the videos you're going to watch in advance. If if it's going to be easy to let that dopamine get the better of you and click that whatever video that's just the 10 scariest places to do whatever, or the 10 if it says 10 crazy things, then don't click it. It's a waste of time, at least for the morning. Give yourself that little bit of space in the morning. I found that beneficial. And then if I wasn't going to do the bike, I'll tell you what I do. After the bike, I grab my dogs, my beautiful golden retriever and little bulldog, and I take them on a walk around the complex, and I go watch sunrise. So I get up at 4:30. It takes me about 20 minutes until 5 o'clock to get on my bike. I do an hour on the bike, and then I grab the dogs, take them on about maybe it's like a mile walk. I go around my complex, throw the ball a couple times for my dog, and then down the street. And then when I'm coming back, there's like this pond and stuff, and off in the distance behind my apartment buildings, the sun's rising. I go around the apartment buildings, watch sunrise around 6:30. Boom. Now I do different things every day. Like now I'm free to, after that I'll try to do like 90 minutes of like deep work. That's my goal, is to get to the point where right after that I do 90 minutes of deep work. Some days, if I'm not going to go to work, then if I don't work till noon, I'll definitely go get in a weightlifting session at my apartment gym. I'll go lift weights for 45 minutes to an hour. But that's the starting point. Something, if you can't do something that measurably changes your life today, if you can't think of something, then you got to get the juices flowing by habituating, ritualizing your morning. And then I promise you, a few weeks of doing, maybe 3 days, like it happens fast, but probably like a couple weeks of doing that every day consistently, and then you'll know what you can do today to truly change your tomorrow. Anyways, again, I value your time so much. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope that it brought you some semblance of value in any way, shape, or form. If it did, let me know down in the comments. I'll reply to everyone and read everyone, and thank you so much again. Have a great one. And also, you can find me on Instagram at BridgerlyFrederick and at Facebook, but I don't use them very much, so I'm going to, but I don't yet. Anyways, peace out, everyone. Have a fantastic rest of your day.